Yeah. Okay. Today we'll see about how to create database manually. So we already saw how to create a database using OUI. Using Oracle Oracle Universal Installer, we already saw how to install Oracle software as well as how to create the database. Today we'll see how to create a database manually. So to create a database manually, first thing is you need to install Oracle software. If your current server doesn't have the Oracle software, you need to install the Oracle software. After that, you can create the database manually. So till now, you already saw what is the architecture of the Oracle, what are each and every components, and what are the must components of the Oracle database. So first thing, if I want to create a database, the thing is like I want to create a database called as demo. Okay, this will be my database name. So what should be the first thing which I required in order to create a database? Can any one of you tell me what is the first thing we require in order to create the database?
Need to give Oracle path.
Okay. Okay, I'll give Oracle home.
Oracle home
Okay. I'll give
and
path
SID,
and
SID name.
Oracle SID. Okay, after that,
Mm, like need to give the SP file.
I don't have the database, right? So how will I have the SP file? I want to create a
Okay, yeah.
database manually now. So think
Okay.
that I have to create a database manually. And
Okay.
think what are the files we required in order to create the database.
Control files.
Okay, but before the control file, what is the file, basic file which we require?
Mm,
When you're starting the database, what is the first file which will be accessed? When you should start up command, which file
uh-huh.
will be accessed first?
uh,
What happens in no mount mode? What happens in no mount state?
mm,
When you should start up no mount, what will happen?
mm, relax the just
It will access the SP file which is present in Oracle home slash DBS. Correct or not?
yeah.
So once it accesses the Oracle home slash DBS folder, what will happen? It will read the parameters which are related to the memory, like memory underscore target, SGA underscore target. If there are any other memory related parameters like buffer cache size, stream spool
Yeah.
size, large pool, and all those things. And then it will create SGA. It will create a large chunk of memory which is called as SGA in the memory. After that, it will start the mandatory background process. Correct or not?
Yeah.
So first, in order to create the database, what is the basic file you require? The parameter file. So you can either create a SP file or a parameter file. But as SP file is a binary file, you cannot create it manually. So the only option what is available for us is we need to create a parameter file, which is a P file. Okay.
Okay.
So what we'll do, we'll create a P file. So what should be my P file name? Ashish, if I want to create a database called as demo, and if I'm preparing a parameter file for the database, what should be my database, what should be my parameter file name? So in which format the parameter file name will be?
ఏమో నాకు అంతగా ఇంత చదవలేదు మొత్తము ఒక చదివాను గుర్తులేదు అనుకుంటుంది.
Dot. I mean, init SID name dot Vora.
Init sid.ora. So this should be our parameter file name. So here the instance name and the database name will be same. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and give the file name as initdemo.ora. Okay. Now in this parameter file, what are the mandatory parameters? Do you have any idea what are the mandatory parameters which has to be present in the parameter file? I guess I told you there are two basic parameters which are required or mandatory. One of the parameter is db underscore name, and this parameter should have the value demo because I'm creating demo database. And the other must parameter which should be present in the parameter file is db underscore block underscore size, because while creating the database itself, you have to specify what should be your block size. So if your block size should be 8 KB, then we'll specify 8192. So these are the two parameters which are required, which are mandatory in a P file. These are the only two parameters which you require. The rest of the parameters will Oracle will assign default values. You don't need to worry about them. Okay.
Okay.
So this will be our first step. Once we create the parameter file, we need to decide what is a directory structure should be for the data files and for the redo log files. So for example, I have a mount point called as /data and also /oracle. So when I'm creating redo log files, I want to multiplex among /data and /oracle. So I want to create under data, I want to create a folder with the database name followed by online log. In a similar way, under Oracle also, demo followed by online log. So this will be my redo log file locations. Okay.
Okay.
After that, what should be my data file locations? So within data, we already create a folder called as demo, and within that I'll create another folder called as data files, and under data files I'll create the data files. So this is how my directory structure will be. Okay. So depending upon your requirement, if you're trying to create the database in the real time, depending upon your requirement, you will specify those directory structures. But on my server, I want this to be the directory structures. Okay.
Okay.
Schema already ఉంటుంది. स्पेस कोटा एक्सीड डाटा अनलिमिटेड कोटा इच्छेसे आ यूजर की अनलिमिटेड कोटा इच्छेसे give me 5 minutes. Sorry. So we need to make sure we have the directories created on the server. So we need to create demo, and under demo we need to create online log, as well as we need to create data files. Okay. So first we'll go ahead and create the directory structure. So this is my server. I'm logging into the database onto the server, and under database I'll create a folder called as demo. ఇంకా నడుస్తుందని చెప్పు. అన్ని క్రియేట్ కాలేవు, ఇండెక్సెస్ క్రియేట్ కాలేని చెప్పు. Okay, under demo, what are the directories I have to create? Online log as well as data files. So mkdir online log, mkdir data files. After that, under Oracle, I have to create a folder called as demo, and under demo, I have to create online log. So this online log is to multiplex the redo log files. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we also need to make sure what should be our control file location. So in the parameter file, in the parameter file itself will specify the control file, right? Where the
Yes.
control file should be there. So in the parameter file, I also add one more parameter called as control_files. Here, I'll specify the location of the control file. This is not a mandatory thing. You can just go ahead and create the database, but it will use a default control file location. So if you want a different control file location, you have to specify it in the parameter file. So I'll go ahead and give it as /data/demo control file /control01.ctl. Okay. So this will be my control file destination. So under demo, I also have to create another folder called as control file within database demo control file. Okay. Now I have all the directory structure which I want. After that, where the alert log file will be there. What is the location of alert log and trace files? Do you remember it? Which parameter will specify?
Vora,
Table space ki command ఉంది కదా, alter user 1 GB on ఈ table space ఇచ్చి కొట్టమల్లి. యా శివ.
Vora underscore SID name. That.
No. What I'm asking is which parameter will determine. I mean, like if I want to know the location of alert log file, which parameter will give me the location of the alert log or the trace files? There is a parameter called as background_dump_dest.
Yes.
This is a parameter which will specify where our trace files and alert log file should be present. So I'll also add one more parameter called as background_dump_dest, and usually the trace files and the alert log, the background dump location will be Oracle base, which is Oracle app Oracle, followed by diag means diagnostic, then RDBMS, this is the RDBMS software, followed by database name, followed by instance name, followed by trace. So usually this will be the location of the background file, background dump test. Okay.
Okay.
Similarly, user dump test. Even this parameter will be pointing to the same location. If you remember, I was explaining when I was explaining you about these parameters, I told you there will be a difference between 10G and 11G versions. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
In 11G, all the parameters will point to the same directory, but not 10G. 10G will have a different directory structure for each and every parameter. So user trace files will be stored in one location, background trace files will be stored in another location in 10G. But in 11G, both will be pointing to the same location.
Okay.
Then there is another parameter which is called as audit_dump_dest. So I guess I told you about this parameter also. This will store information related to the auditing, like who logged into the database, who modified the table structure, all those kind of audit information. It will be stored into these files, audit dump test. Okay.
Okay.
This I'll make it as Oracle app Oracle, followed by. Let me go into it. Oracle app Oracle DAG RDBMS test. Okay, so I'll create it as RDBMS DAG RDBMS demo followed by ADUMP. ADUMP means audit dump. Okay. Any doubts still here?
Good, Mohan. No doubts.
Okay. So once the data structures are created, I will create a parameter file with these parameters. Okay. But we need to create this data structure like demo followed by demo, and within the demo we need to create trace as well as ADUMP. So let us go ahead and create those files also. mkdir demo cd demo mkdir demo. Yeah, here I have to create trace as well as ADUMP. Okay, now all the data structure is created. I will go to Oracle Home followed by DBS. Okay, can I know why I got this error?
We didn't set the Oracle environment.
Yes. Done. అయిపోయింది అంతే అయిపోయింది. లాక్స్ లేవు గీక్స్ లేవు వన్ గేమ్ ఇయ్యకు. మరి అన్ని ఎర్రర్లు ఉన్నాయి. ఎక్కడ ఉన్నాయి లాక్ ఫైల్ నీకు? లాక్ ఫైల్ okay. So what I will do, I'll set the Oracle environment dot space dot slash set db. అదే now I'll go to Oracle Home DBS. Here I will create init demo.ora and I will add those entries. Sorry, it's not audit underscore dump underscore test, it's audit underscore file underscore test. Okay, this is a parameter which will determine the audit file location. Audit underscore file underscore test. So usually you can check it actually. Once you write the parameter name, it will, the color will be different. So that is how I got to know that audit underscore dump underscore test is not the correct parameter. Okay. Now what should we do? We have to start the instance. So to start up the instance, what we require, the only parameter file is required. Am I correct or not?
Yeah.
So now we have the parameter file. What should I have to do in order to start up this instance? If I issue, the thing is like to issue startup no mode, what I have to do? I have to invoke the SQL plus, correct?
Yeah. You have to specify the parametric file.
Okay, no, I mean like I stored it in DBS location. So by default, it will go to DBS location and it will start up the instance. But
Okay.
my question is, if I invoke SQL plus utility right now
Mm-hmm.
and I do SQL plus /sysdba, to which instance I'll connect? Depending upon my Oracle SID environmental variable, I will connect to that specific instance. So if I do echo $oracle underscore SID, so if I invoke the SQL plus utility, I'll connect to test. As a result, if I issue startup command, test database will be started. So what should I have to do in order to specify different SID? Ashish. Right now, my Oracle SID is pointing to test. I want Oracle SID to point to demo. What should I have to do?
మాట్లాడదాము చేంజ్
ఏంటి
చేంజ్ డెమో కానీ
అదే ఎట్లా చేంజ్ చేయాలి?
ఇప్పుడు టెస్ట్ అంటే మన డెమో అది సిడి కొట్టి డెమో అంతే కదా, డెమోకి పోవాలి.
సిడి కొట్టి డెమోకి పోవాలనా?
కాదు, ఇప్పుడు డెమో కాదు కాదు
What is the Unix command we use in order to assign a variable?
అసైన్ చేయాలంటే ఎక్స్పోర్ట్.
Export, huh? So right now Oracle underscore SID అన్న వేరియబుల్ కి టెస్ట్ అన్న వాల్యూ ఉంది. సో ఇప్పుడు నేను Oracle underscore SID కి వాల్యూ డెమో అని ఇవ్వాలనుకుంటున్నా. సో అప్పుడు ఏం చేయాలి?
అంటే ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ ఆర్కల్ ఎస్ఐడి ఈక్వల్ టు మళ్ళీ డెమో ఇవ్వాలి.
ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ $Oracle underscore SID జస్ట్ Oracle underscore SID?
ఆర్కల్ డాలర్ ఉండదు.
Okay. So this is how I have to change my SID. Okay, now my SID is pointing to demo. So as a result, I'll go ahead and issue SQL plus /sysdba.
No. మోహన్, అక్కడ మనం సెట్ డిబి విఐ ఫైల్ కూడా ఎడిట్ చేసుకొని అది పెట్టుకో, డెమో
పెట్టుకోవచ్చు, కానీ నా దాంట్లో ఇంకా 2-3 డేటాబేస్ ఉన్నాయి అనుకోండి. So what I have to do in order to just start the instance? What is the command to just start the instance?
startup no mount.
So I'll issue startup no mount here. So do you think alert log file will be created or not at this moment of time? In our background dump test location, will an alert log will be created or not?
Yeah, it will create like.
Yeah, because it has to record this thing, right?
Yeah.
Instance is started. So it has to record that. So let us go to the background dump location and we'll see. See, alert underscore demo.log file has been created.
మోహన్, ఒక చిన్న డౌట్. ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇంకో ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తాం అనుకోండి, సపోజ్ ఆ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ లో మనం సెట్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ సెట్ డిబి పెడతాం కదా. ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ఓపెన్ చేసినప్పుడు సెట్ డిబి సెట్ చేస్తాం కదా.
మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి చెప్పండి.
ఇప్పుడు మనం ఒక టెర్మినల్ మీద ఉన్నాము.
అవును.
జస్ట్ ఇంకో టెర్మినల్ ఓపెన్ చేసాం అనుకోండి, ఇంకో టెర్మినల్ ఓపెన్ చేసేసి
ఓకే
అక్కడ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ సెట్ చేస్తాం కదా, మళ్ళీ సెట్ చేయాలి కదా. సో అప్పుడు మళ్ళా ఎస్ఐడి అక్కడ కూడా మళ్ళీ డెమో ఇచ్చుకోవాలి, అంతే కదా. డెమో ఓపెన్.
Okay, now the instance is started. The next step is we have to create the control file and the data files and the redo log files, correct? So in order to create the database, we use the command create database name, which is demo. Okay. After that, we have to specify the data file location. If you remember, the first data file which will be created on the database, to which table space the data file belongs to? The first data file in the database will always belong to system table space.
Yeah.
Actually, table space management చెప్పేటప్పుడు చెప్పాను అని పాయింట్. So this is how we'll create the database. So using create database command, we'll create the database. So we'll specify create database followed by database name. After that, forget about this one. Okay, let me do Control X. First, we'll create a data file, and the data file location will be data demo data files. Let me make it as data files. Okay, so the first data file will be system data file, and it will belong to system table space, and we don't have to specify that this data file will belong to system table space, because the first data file which will be created on the database automatically will go to the system table space. So that is the reason why I'm not specifying any table space here. After that, this will be my data file, this will be the size 500 MB, and then extend management local. So that means I'm creating a system table space with locally managed extend management local. Okay, and then the next table space I'm creating is undo table space. So only for the first data file we don't need to specify the table space name. It will go to the default system table space. For rest of the data files you have to specify to which table space it should go into. So for undo table space, I'm specifying undo table space. This will be my undo table space name, and this will be the data file size. After that, sysox. So sysox is the table space again. System, sysox, and undo. So sysox table space name, data file location, size. After that, we have to specify what will be the default temporary table. So default temporary table space, and the temporary table space name is temp. After that, we'll have temp files in the temporary table space, not data files. So we have to specify temp file, and then the temp file location, and then size. After that, I'm creating an additional table space which is called as users, and I'm giving the data file as user01.dbf and then size. Okay. After that, what are the minimum number of Redulog files required?
Redulog, minimum 2 groups we need.
Yeah, so 2 minimum groups are required. So yeah. I'm creating 3 groups here, but you can also create just 2 groups if you want. So I'm creating 3 groups, and I'm multiplexing the Redulog files among /data mount point and /oracle mount point. Okay. And then I have to specify the password for sys user and system user. So at the end, I'll be specifying user, sys identified by Oracle, user system identified by Oracle. So I'm specifying the password for sys user as well as for the system user. Okay. These are will create the database. Next, if you want to specify some more parameters, like what should be the maximum data files. So if you remember, in our parameter file there will be a parameter called as data_files, which will specify the maximum number of data files should be there. మీరు క్వశ్చన్ అడిగా గుర్తుందా టేబుల్ స్పేస్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ అప్పుడు ఎన్ని డేటా ఫైల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేయొచ్చు అని. సో అది ఇక్కడ స్పెసిఫై చేయొచ్చు అనమాట మనం. సో ద మ్యాక్స్ లాగ్ ఫైల్స్ విచ్ వీ కెన్ క్రియేట్ ఈస్ 16. మ్యాక్స్ లాగ్ మెంబర్స్ ఆర్ 4. అంటే విత్ ఇన్ ఈచ్ గ్రూప్ వీ కెన్ క్రియేట్ 4 members. Next, max data files are 1024. That means in the database we can have 1024 data files. And instances, you'll know it in the future classes. For the standalone, you'll have only one instance. And then the character set. So if you remember, like when we invoke OUI and when we are creating the database, we'll be selecting the character set also there. గుర్తుందా అండి? బ్లాక్స్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకున్న తర్వాత క్యారెక్టర్ సెట్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకొని మెమరీ స్పెసిఫై చేస్తాం అక్కడ.
Yeah.
సో అదే క్యారెక్టర్ సెట్ విల్ స్పెసిఫై ఇట్ హియర్ యూజింగ్ క్యారెక్టర్ సెట్ ఆప్షన్. క్యారెక్టర్ సెట్ స్పేస్ AL32 UTF-8. సో మీకు అంటే ఒక్కొక్క కంపెనీలో ఒక్కొక్క క్యారెక్టర్ సెట్ వాడతారు. సో డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్ దట్ విల్ స్పెసిఫై ద క్యారెక్టర్ సెట్ హియర్. ఓకే, నౌ ఐల్ ఇష్యూ దిస్ కమాండ్. Okay, do you know the reason why it failed?
Control. I mean, maybe you don't have permissions for that
Folder?
folder. Yeah.
I created the folder as Oracle user, right? So I will have the permission. So what could be the reason?
Yeah, database page.
See, my mount point starts with database. Okay, I specified as /data here. So that is the reason why it says unable to create the file. No such file or directory. So let me make data to database.
Database. Okay.
There is one more thing here. Database. 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 Okay, done. అయిపోయింది ఇంపోర్టు. నేను నీకేం చెప్పినా లాగ్ ఎడిట్ చేసి పంపి, మరి ఏం చేస్తావు ఇప్పుడు? వాడికి అట్లా కాదు, ప్రూఫ్ ఏంటంటే ఇంపోర్ట్ అయిపోయింది రా, కాకపోతే 2-3 సార్లు చేసినాం. ఒకసారి ఏమో ఒక టేబుల్ ఇంపోర్ట్ అయిన తర్వాతనేమో మళ్ళీ ఇంకా ఇండెక్స్ రిపోర్ట్ చేసినాం. ఇప్పుడు వాడు ఏంటంటే ఎర్రర్ వచ్చింది అంటున్నట. వానికి క్రాస్ చెక్ చేసుకోమను, టేబుల్ ఉంది అన్ని ఉన్నాయి, నీకు ఎందుకు ప్రాబ్లం అని చెప్పి. స్టిల్ ఓకే. యా, ఇప్పుడు ఎందుకు ఎర్రర్ వచ్చింది చెప్తారా? కెన్ యూ గెస్ వై ఐ గాట్ ద ఎర్రర్ నౌ?
Till its data అనేది చూపిస్తుంది కదా.
ఇంక్లూడ్ ఈక్వల్ టు ఇండెక్స్ ఏంటండి?
Till ఇంకా డేటా అనేది చూపిస్తుంది కదా.
యా, రీజన్ ఏంటి? From where the control file location will be determined.
Key file.
So what should I have to do? I have to shut it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here I have to change it to database.
Database.
మళ్ళీ ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసిరా? ఓకే, అన్ని దాంట్లోకి ఓవర్ రైట్ అయినాయి కదరా. నో ఆప్ డాట్ అవుట్లు ఉన్నాయి, అన్ని నో ఆప్ డాట్ అవుట్లు ఉన్నాయి. ఉందిరా, కానీ అదే లాక్ ఫైల్ ఓవర్ రైట్ అవుతుంది కదా. నో ఆప్ డాట్ అవుట్లు ఉంటాయి కదా, అది కాపీ పేస్ట్ చేసి